What's going on, fam? What's up, Holly? Holly and Holly. It's all the Hollies showing up. What's up, Eric? What up, fam? Welcome to 907. Come on in. Float some hearts. Drop some comments. Mash the share button. Biatch.
What?
Mash. Smash. 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 Oh, oh, oh. Biatch. Yeah. Big ol' Papa Sleazy-o. Bruh. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Wow. 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 Papa Swole. Oh. Papa Swole. Oh. We are just about to get under Sway. Prepping dinner. I like it. Get some. Get some. Someone somewhere. Get something. Ticka bow 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 bow. Bow bow wow 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 wow. All right, my peoples. My peoples. My shpeoples. Benjamin Hick, 907 days straight, never a sick day. Haha, never a sick day. Sick with these sick fucking games. Sick games. Let's talk about that when we go live. On that note, let's fucking do it. Fitness scene bullshit, man.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling.
Oh, I'm hungry now.
Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Yeah. Boom. Testing. 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 Test. 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 Testing. 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 Test Ickles. A test Ickles. Testing. Test Ickles. A test Ickles. Oh, welcome everyone to episode 911. 907. I usually say shix or Shevin, but 7 and shix. Shevin sounds the same. Welcome to 907 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beardcast, broadcast, gangcast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, and slaycast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What is going on, my peepages? Welcome, Ole, David, Ken, Dennis, Benjamin, all the ladies, Holly and Holly. We got like 4 Hollies running around here. And what's going on? Instagram. I am all sorts of pronunciation today. Shevin, Instagram. Is that like a new thing? Is that a new app? Instagram. I'm sure that's probably some kind of like online. That's one of those like websites where you get like the stats from Instagram. Instagram. I don't know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. It's a Tuesday. And what I do know is going on. A couple things. One, we're going to talk about the little guys today. The little guys, what up? We're talking little dudes, not little dudes, but little guys. Little guys in muscle sense. We're going to talk about accessory muscles today. And we are going to discuss how to focus and target those and why people are forgetting about them and why they don't get developed as much as some of those bigger muscle groups. So we'll talk about the things like the forearms, we'll talk about the forearms, we'll talk about the calves, we'll talk about the abdominals, we'll talk about these smaller muscle groups, including other ones that you may not be aware of that are important when it comes to a physique, when it comes to putting together your entire fitness programming. There's a lot of functionality, functional training. There's a lot of mobility training. There's a lot of stabilization training. There are a lot of functional aspects to fitness that are important. I don't think anyone denies that it's important to be strong. It's important to be mobile. It's important to minimize your pain, right? Maximize your range of motion, right? Move the body that you were given. Move the body in the way that it was designed to move. However, you also want to have the aesthetics. You also want to look balanced. You don't want to look fucking weird. You don't want to look fucking weird. We all talk about having functional strength and, okay, can I lift that? Can I push that? Can I squat that? Can I press that? But you also don't want to be imbalanced. You don't want to look like you have fucking skinny legs. You don't want to look like you have skinny arms. You want to look proportionate. That's a normal human thing. That's a normal human thing. Whether it comes down to some kind of evolutionary sexual bonding type thing where we subconsciously find that attractive when you have proportionate body parts, but we can sense that. We can sense when someone is imbalanced. We can sense like a statue. We know something is off when we see someone that skips leg day. We know something is off when we see someone that looks like a fucking gorilla with their shoulders internally rotating, all shrugged up. When someone looks weird, we usually know that they look weird. And when I say weird, it just means something's off. Something's not balanced. The human eye is very good at quickly assessing balance in the body, balance in aesthetics, and balance in physique. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to create some more of that balance in addition to your functional training. It's important to minimize pain. It's important to minimize injury risk. It's important to have functional strength. And I think it's also important to have aesthetics. It's also important to have that balance because the visual balance is going to relate in many ways to the actual physical and strength balance. If you're targeting muscles evenly and appropriately in the proper ratios and the proper focus, you're going to have physical balance. You're going to have aesthetic balance. You're going to have overall balance. So it's just part of the puzzle. It's part of the pizza pie, so to speak. Don't eat pizza. Don't eat it. All that cheese and all that fucking crap in it. No. Bad. Naughty. Naughty. All the processed foods. No. 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 Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. This is the week of trying not to eat bad food, right? Let's take a couple questions before we get into the nips and tits of this episode. Do frozen vegetables lose their nutritional value? Swole God. Oh, Swole God. Frozen vegetables, do they lose their nutritional value? That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't have an answer for you. Usually freezing preserves to an extent, but I don't know how closely those things are studied. A lot of times frozen vegetables are cleaned first, right? They're washed thoroughly and then they're frozen or flash frozen, and then usually preserves the nutritional content. So I'm sure it depends on the cleanliness or how they're actually packaged, what they're packaged in terms of nutrient content or value. I don't think there's probably much of a difference, but fresh is usually better. Fresh is usually better, I would assume. But not everyone has access to fresh vegetables. And one of the things with freezing things, whether you're freezing meat or vegetables, it allows you to have those things longer in your house. It also allows you to have them maybe out of season, which could or could not be a bad thing when they're not available. So if you only bought things fresh and ate them fresh, then you would always be going to the supermarket. You'd always be trying to source things. You would be at the mercy of whatever is in season, which is a natural thing, but it could be more unlikely or more of a pain in the ass for someone to maintain. Always fresh, always shopping, always cooking kind of thing. The bicep workout today legit killed. My forearms gave up on me. My hands wanted to drop the weight, but I kept going. Ooh, boss man. Good question. Getting my girlfriend into the gym, making sure she works that peach and does some Kegels. Bowers, wise man, wise man. All right, yeah, so I know we're a little bit later today. This is a little evening cast going on. And for those of you that might be new to the podcast, welcome, welcome, welcome. Drop a comment. If it's your Virgin Swole, make sure you say it's your Virgin Swole. And we're kind of chill today. I'm in a chill mood. I'm amped up and I'm fired up, and I'll still talk about taint and Kegels and nips and things like that. Don't worry. But I'm feeling pretty chill right now. I got some coffee, some evening coffee, kind of winding down. I didn't drink it all today, so I'm kind of nursing the coffee. It's been a cold front. And when I say cold front in Florida, it's like mid-70s, mid-high 70s, but it's like California now. All the humidity just suddenly left the last 2 days and just completely just dried out and it's nice and crisp. So a lot of like feeling different. A lot of feeling different. And you get that a lot in Florida because there's sudden weather changes. Most areas of the country are pretty consistent. When it starts to get cooler, it gets cooler, and then it gets cold and it stays cold. Florida is like up and down. It's going to be chilly for a couple days and then it'll be 95 again. It'll be ridiculous. So sometimes all of a sudden those sudden changes, it gets to me a little bit and it just kind of throws me off, just from an organism standpoint. But yeah, so if you're not in the South Florida area, you wouldn't know about this whole sudden weather change, but it's nice. It's beautiful. It's definitely beautiful. No complaints. It's just been a really big shift in the last couple days. Rocky LeClaire, do you think eating prep meals same time of the day, same time of every day will help you grow? Sure. If you're eating enough calories and you're eating the right foods. Yeah. Remember, everyone, it comes down to what you're preparing for. Any kind of meal is prepared. If you're making it in the moment and you're eating it, you're preparing it now. If you make it in advance, meal prep, we talk about meal prep. I think the fitness industry has made meal prep this whole entire creature of its own, right? We've created this monster, calling it meal prep. Like, oh my God, it's a whole thing we have to lock down. You can prepare meals any fucking way you want. You can make your meals any way you want. You can make them all on Sunday. You can make them 3 days a week. You can cook every fucking day. That's really up to you. The whole meal prep thing has just gotten out of control. Meal prep is not required in the drastic sense that you see a lot of professionals doing it. You don't need these Instagram posts where you have an entire table with 30 fucking Tupperwares. You don't need that shit. You don't need all that kind of like layout. I certainly don't do that. You don't have to make 50 Tupperwares of food for your entire week to get in shape. You certainly don't. Some people don't have time during the week, or they like to prioritize other things. So they think, you know what? I'm going to do it for 4 or 5 hours on one day, get it done for the week, and then I just grab it and eat it. Fine. Some people like to cook. They like the process of cooking. They like their food fresh in the moment a couple days during the week. So you might prepare some meals during the day or for the week, and then certain meals you cook on the spot when you come home from work. That's up to you. As long as you're getting your caloric needs, as long as you're eating the right foods and you're exercising right and you're sleeping and you're meditating, you're doing your yoga, you're on your program, you're consistent, you're going to get results. So meal prep has nothing to do with bulking or losing. It still depends on what the outcome is. Are you getting the right foods in the right quantities over the course of weeks, months, and years? And then you'll get the results that come from that. A lot of pieces, the reason why people don't get results when they're training or with fitness period is because there's so many moving parts and there's so many parts of your entire life that lead to a result with fitness. Fitness is not, hey, when you read a book or you don't read a book. The only act of reading the book is sitting down, opening it up, and reading it. When it comes to building muscle, losing weight, all those things that you want from your training, it's sleep, it's your mindset, it's your consistency, it's your workout over the course of months and years, it's all those meals, it's your hydration. There's so many different parts of it. Most people fall short in one or more areas, and that's why they don't get optimal results. That's just how it works. That's how it works. If you want to read a book, you read a fucking book. It's not complicated. One thing. You read it or you don't. You did or you didn't. When it comes to fitness, you have like 50 fucking different variables all the time that are dynamically changing. And are you going to be consistent the vast majority of the time over the course of months and years? And you're going to get your results, but it's going to take a long time. And even if 10, 50, or 1,000 people all do it the same way, not everyone's going to receive the same results, right? Not everyone responds the same exact way when it comes to fitness. When it comes to a diet plan, when it comes to an approach, some people might love 6 meals a day. Some people like 1 meal a day. Some people like fasting 2 days every month. I mean, there's so many different things out there, and there isn't a wrong way. That's why so many people like and plant their flag in different things. There's a bunch of different options. You have a lot of different options out there, but you have to give it the due diligence, and you have to really put the effort forward to be consistent with that. Mike Stuttle, I feel the benefit of meal prepping is that when you've had a busy day, there's no excuse to grab shitty food. I agree. If you have the things you need and you're prepared, that's the key word with meal prep. It's not the fact that you're preparing meals. It's the fact that you're preparing. If you're prepped with your meals, you'll have the meals ready, because that's what it is. Meal prep means meal preparation. How you prepare that is fucking different for everyone. You might prepare Monday's meals on Sunday night. You might prepare Tuesday's meals on Monday night. You might prepare Monday through Wednesday, Sunday night, and then Wednesday night you do Thursday through Saturday. And then Saturday or Saturday you don't do anything prepared because you're home with the family and you cook all day and you make your food fresh or whatever. The preparation is the difference. Your fitness preparation, having your gym bag ready, right? Having your water ready, having your schedule, that's the preparation. You can prepare for anything. You could do meal prep, you could do training prep, you could do any kind of prep. I had to burp. That was me. And that was my assistant. They don't stick to the path. They have no discipline or consistency. Most people don't have consistency, right? Most people don't have the consistency and the discipline to keep on doing it. And you're not going to win every day. You're not going to have it all figured out all the time. But if you're prioritizing your fitness, you're prioritizing your food, that's going to be the result. If that's your number one and that's where you're focusing your attention, that's where you're focusing everything, you're going to make sure that gets the number one priority, and that's going to be prepared. If you have what you need when you need it, it's called preparation. Do you have your gym clothes with you if you happen to get out of work early and you go right to the gym? No, you weren't prepared to go to the gym. Then you go home and you get stuck up with something. Oh, I'll just go tomorrow. Or you can't get back out of the house. Well, if you were prepared, you would have gotten it done because you got out early, but you didn't have your blah, blah. Preparation. And there's different kinds of it. So let's get into the meat or the beef, the sausage, the salami, the salted cured nips of this episode, the little guys. Let's talk about the little guys. And yes, on Instagram, it's all about priorities. If you have your priority and your priority is in line with your training and your fitness is a top priority, it's going to be reflected in the results. Your results reflect your priorities. You're very, very obese, you've been gaining weight for 20, 30 years, is because fitness and health and nutrition wasn't your top priority. And you have to admit that to yourself. Most of the things that happen in your life are as a result of your own doing. And it's not to take a fucking whip and whip yourself and beat yourself up and be like, you're a fucking piece of shit. I'm in this situation because of me. Fuck, I suck. No, it's like, okay, understanding that you put yourself in that situation and now you can do stuff about it to get yourself out of it or to avoid the situation in the future. It's just the process of reassessing and realizing where you are and also realizing you have control over what changes. If things don't change, nothing's going to be different. If you don't change things from the foundation, nothing's going to change. Like the outcome isn't going to be different. That's the famous phrase. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If you keep on trying crash diets and they don't work, big surprise. They're not going to work. Do something else. You keep on training the same way and expect all of a sudden your abs are going to magically appear like a fucking leprechaun. Not going to happen. You have to change things up. You have to change how you approach your fitness. That's why with everything that we do here, it's about changing the foundational approach, changing the foundational approach in your relationship to food, changing your foundational approach in your relationship to how you should be going about your training, the importance of mobility, the importance of range of motion, the importance of active recovery, the importance of the long-term mentality is going to help you in the short term. It's going to help you make better decisions now because you are going to be around in 30 years. And if you want to be around in a good way, you better start making those preparations now with your training and your nutrition. Otherwise, you're going to be fucked up in the long term. Not good. Not a good thing, right? So I do want to talk about accessory muscles. So let's shift the conversation. Let's shift the conversation over to accessory body parts. So let's talk more about abs, but let's talk even more about things like forearms, posterior deltoid, middle and lower trapezius. Let's talk about the calves, anterior tibialis. Let's talk about these little assisting muscle groups. So of everything I just said, or if there's another one, let's do this. What is, of what I said or something related, what is the hardest muscle group or area for you to develop? What is the biggest challenge that you have found with your training? Which area of the body that I just mentioned, or maybe something similar, is the biggest struggle for you? And I just want to, while you all are putting that down in the comments, remember, just want to give you all a reminder now that the glute activation masterclass is happening Thursday, 8 p.m. Thursday, 8 p.m. So if you have been listening to the podcast for a while and you have heard me talk about glute activation, glute exercises, I'm going to be utilizing a lot of great video guides and instructionals from Swolenormous X. Are going to be breaking them down. I want to talk about progressions. I'm going to talk about regressions, modifications, how to integrate glute activation into your strength training, and how you would know when to progress it. All right, where you should start, what you should be focusing on, what's most important, because activation is very, very corrective based, and it's very, very focused and important to do it absolutely perfectly because you're teaching the body. So if you want to learn how to map the glutes and how to activate them properly, join my private fam. Join us inside Swolenormous X this Thursday for the glute activation masterclass. And you can get more information. Go to swolenormousx.com and click on memberships, and you can get a 7-day free trial and just access the masterclass this Thursday and hook in that way and see if you like it, which you will. It's going to be badass, and it's going to be live Q&A, very interactive. So check that out this Thursday, 8 p.m. But definitely don't wait till last minute to sign up because you may miss it by the time you get logged in and everything. So make sure you jump on that ASA to the P's nuts, swolenormousx.com. And again, click on memberships and it'll break it all down for you. Also have information in my bio on Instagram and stuff like that, so you can check it out. Link is also in the Facebook post description. So any other questions, you could feel free to hit me up, message me. Rear deltoids, I'm seeing rear delts on Instagram, a couple people with the rear delts. Rear delts for me turns into traps or lats, hard to target. Inner thighs, abs, inner thighs again, inner thighs. Inner thighs. Inner thighs are overworked, by the way. Inner thighs are actually really, really tight and stiff. So it's interesting. Most people say things like inner thighs, not because you have trouble targeting the inner thighs, because you have body fat there that you don't want. But you can't target and spot reduce belly fat. You can't spot reduce fat. So you can't target fat in your inner thighs. It's something systemic. Inner thighs are very easy to target. You have those machines. You can do all sorts of isometrics. Inner thighs are easy to work. Most people store fat around the hips and the midsection. The fat people don't like, not the muscle activation. It's a woman thing. It's a woman thing. That's because most women store fat around their hips and thighs, and it's the fat there, not the muscle. My abs, I have fat around my waist. And I mentioned abs. I really probably shouldn't have, because abs are a whole other concept. But anyway, just to get started, we talk about these smaller assisting muscle groups. You're not going to spot reduce fat. Okay. The body does not spot reduce fat. It does not. You have fat on your arms. You could do curls all day. You're not going to lose arm fat. It's going to come from training regularly, making sure that you are in proper caloric balance, not eating too many calories, not consuming excess energy than you're using. So you'll hear me all the time talk about stop counting calories, stop counting calories, stop counting calories, stop counting calories. I think you should stop counting calories. But here's the thing. It's not that calories don't matter, but you should not be counting calories at the expense of what foods you're consuming. Okay? Don't eat crap and try to count calories and measure out the crap that you're eating and think you're going to get results. You need to foundationally eat the right foods, and then you can start worrying about maybe how much you're consuming. Your body will reset a lot of things naturally when you're eating the right foods. Hold on, let me get a little bit better. The sun's going down. I'm not used to the sun. We usually don't go this late with the daily. Let me just turn the light on back here. Hold on a sec. Let's see. There we go. Get a little more light for there we go. Now you could all see how Papa Swole the gain train. Very cool. Let's see. Holly, I don't try and target inner thighs. I just feel that it's not going to get any smaller. Women have more body fat percentage naturally. That's true for hormones and stuff. Women naturally have a higher body fat percentage. That is true. It doesn't mean you can't lose fat in that area. And especially as you get older, men and women, when hormone levels change, you will store fat differently, right? So that's one of the things I mentioned when you can't spot reduce body fat. You can start to manage your stress better with meditation and with other stress management methods. When you have lower cortisol levels and lower stress hormones circulating through the body, you are less prone to retaining water and storing body fat. And stress hormones can come from just the kind of stress that you would think about with work, family, any kind of anxiety, but also stress with physical stress. If you're not managing your physical stress, that's not going to be good. If you're not managing your emotional stress, all these things come out in the body and it becomes systemic. If you are training hard all the time, if you're beating your fucking shit up, and listen carefully, guys, girls, if you're lifting hard and you're doing high intensity interval training, HIIT training, you're just fucking lifting, cardio, just beating the fucking shit out of your body all the time, you are going to be blasted. You're going to have stress hormones through the roof. Cortisol levels are going to be rocketing because you are not giving yourself a chance to recover. So physical stress, people train too damn much. The crazy cycle is that you have physical stress, or let's say this, you have emotional stress. You're stressed out at work, you're stressed out with traffic, you're stressed out with kids, you're stressed out in a relationship, whatever it is. So you go to the gym, you go work out to get rid of your stress. You go to the gym and stuff to release your stress. And then what happens? You're using physical exertion to overcome that emotional stress. And you're going to feel temporarily better. It's like a moving meditation. You have those endorphins, you have the blood flowing, you're dilated. You feel kind of good temporarily, but that's going to come back around. So you're putting your body under physical stress, under physical strain, physical duress, in order to compensate and to heal, so to speak, your emotional stress. So you're just really fucking causing more and more, I want to say damage, because it's not a bad thing to exercise, but you're not creating any kind of balance. You're not soothing the brain by training the body. It feels good temporarily, but your relationship problems, your problems with your kids, with your work, they don't go away. So if you're not managing your mental and your emotional stress, then you're going to have you're chasing something with the wrong tool, right? You need to hammer a nail in, but you're chasing around with a screwdriver. And there's this kind of like illusion that occurs when you do physical training. You feel better because you use the body the way it was designed to be used. You feel good because you trained. However, you're not solving the problem, right? You're solving a problem. You're solving something. You're taking care of something in the left column, and you're doing the training in order to solve something in the right column. You're trying to fix the brain by exerting the body. And there is some correlation, crossover, and it's good. Of course, you need to train. Of course, we're here, right? We're fucking here. We're talking about fitness. This is the fucking Daily Swole. You got to train. I mean, this is important. Your physical care of your body is very important. However, you need to attack the mental stuff with mental approach. Does that make sense? I think that's what a lot of people miss. They train in order to release stress or take care of emotional and mental stress. But it's only part of it. Like that's going to come, you're not solving the problem. You're just kind of masking it. It's like taking Tylenol for a headache when you're dehydrated. Well, if you drink water, your headache will go away, or you wouldn't have had a headache to begin with. You wouldn't have had a headache to begin with had you been drinking enough water. So solve the problem. Where's the problem coming from, and what would take care of that issue? Don't just try to do something else to distract yourself from the actual fundamental problem. My 2 cents. Swole shit, look at the beard, look at the beard, look at the bird. So need more meditation and shit. What's a full day of eating look like? I'm not going to talk about that right now. So yeah, I have videos. You can check out my YouTube channel. There's a video of what I eat last couple months. I did that. We talk about it a lot too. Yeah, I'm not going to get down to nutrition. We haven't even started talking about the accessory muscles, really. I feel like we're just addressing it. Maybe we'll get into some more detail with it all tomorrow, because we haven't really gotten to specifics. But the whole point of today's episode, talking about the little guys and those accessory muscles, we kind of been beating around the bush a little bit, training things like the forearms, the calves, posterior deltoid, that brings, just to tie it into the beginning of the podcast, that brings around that aesthetic appeal. That brings around balance to the joint. These smaller muscle groups really tie in an entire physique. If you don't train your forearms, you're missing muscles. You're literally missing and ignoring muscles. If you're not training your calves, you are missing muscles and you're affecting your ability to perform squats properly. Muscles in the calves actually help you get out of the hole and help you drive up from that bottom point in that bottom position. The soleus muscles help with plantar flexion, which helps you from the bottom point of a squat. When you start activating muscles properly and giving them due attention and working on your weak points, making weak points your strong point. And that's what Arnold Schwarzenegger famously said, I like to make my weak points my strong points. Yeah, I have no weak points. I am beautiful everywhere. That's what Arnold says. That's what he used to say. You make your weak points your strong points. And when I first started watching Pumping Iron back in the day, and that really inspired me, of course, like many people. But when you train underperforming and weaker, smaller, whatever body parts, you are approaching your body the right way. You're working on things that need improvement. Now, in other areas of your life, you might want to focus on your strengths, like with your career. You want to focus on what you're good at and then bring other people on to fill in the gaps, right? But with your body, you can't bring someone in to fill in the gaps. You're not going to bring someone in to, do the work that your calves will be doing. It's like, hey, I'm going to bring in Bill and he's going to do my forearm work. Not going to happen. You need to make your body work as congruently as possible. You can't ignore areas of your body. And this doesn't mean that they're going to grow and be big and you're going to have massive forearms, you're going to have massive calves. It doesn't mean any of that. You're not guaranteed just because you're training them. There's no guarantee that you're going to get any of that with your output. And a lot of these muscles aren't designed to get large. They're more slow twitch fiber activation. They are high repetition. There are a lot of time under tension type muscles, stabilizer muscles like the calves, balancing out the lower leg, providing locomotion. Same thing with the forearms, grip strength. You don't want to burn out your forearms because then you can't even use your fucking fingers. So you have these types of, governors in place that restrict usually the body from blasting these areas, and it makes them more uncomfortable, makes it hard to target. And when you try to program them into your fitness routine, it's hard sometimes to place them. When do you do forearms? At the end of your arm workout? Okay, but then you're already tired. Are you getting all the attention that the forearms need at the end of an arm workout? Well, if you did them first, you're fatiguing them first. When should I do calves? At the beginning because they're lagging? Well, you also don't want to fatigue your calves before your actual leg workout because then you might cramp up. You might not have the stabilization you need for your leg workout. You don't want to jeopardize your ability to, lift heavy weight if that's what you're doing in that session, and put yourself at risk of injury or not have the stability and not have the muscular integrity of the lower leg that you might need. So sometimes people have issues programming that into their routine, and there isn't always a right answer. Because everyone's a little bit different. So Tommy's asking on Facebook, what do you think about guys that train calves every day? I do. I train calves every time I go to the gym. I crush them. I mean, sometimes I miss a day, or if I don't go to the gym, I'm doing yoga. I don't do them, but every time I train, I finish up with calf training, and I do extreme full range of motion up to my tippy toes. And of course I use my Vibrams and everything. So I get full range of motion. I do donkey calf raise. I do seated. I do isometrics. I do pulse reps. I do negatives. I do all sorts of shit. I do all sorts of stuff with the calves. And only recently have I really started seeing more explosive quote unquote growth because my beard is itchy. But for me, frequency and volume paired up properly have been working better. Frequency is the answer for me, and working them once a week never ever got the job done. So I have gravitated towards more frequently, and I played around with every day, 3 days a week, heavy weight, high reps, specific exercise. And once I see something respond to it, I focus on it. And if I see something that, I got really sore from this, or I really felt great development, I see a lot of change, I just hammer that out and I focus and I beeline towards it. And you also have to be careful. So for example, with these smaller muscle groups, like the forearms, like the calves, you got to be careful all of a sudden doing them every day, because then you're suddenly putting a lot of stress on these muscles that you need. You're putting a lot of stress on the tendons. You have to make sure you're not overdoing it with volume if you're doing frequency so high. So if you're training your calves every day and that's working for you, you got to be careful. You got to make sure you're not getting tendonitis. You don't get Achilles tendonitis, or you don't have any kind of issue because, the bottom of your foot, you start getting plantar fasciitis because you're overtraining. You ramped up too fast. Okay. So you have those things too. You can't be training forearms every day because then you're going to affect your body's ability to do arm workouts or do chest and back. I mean, it's very individualized when it gets to that point, but there are a lot of possibilities out there. Kevin Nobles, how do I become a top fan, bro? Dude, I have no fucking idea. If anyone knows, I'm sure you can Google it. But yeah, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago when Facebook started implementing the top fan status. I don't know. I'm sure it has to do with watching the broadcast, commenting, liking, sharing. Just be a top fan, man. I take your word for it. Dude, you don't need my friend, you do not need Facebook to be my top fan, to be a top fan. Kevin, you are honorable mention top fan in my book, bro. Yeah, I don't know how Facebook uses their fucking algorithms or what that means or what acquires top fan status, but as long as you keep on showing up and commenting, and I'm sure you'll get it. I'm sure you get it. But in my heart, you're a top fan, man. Respect. Let me just write this over here. Let's see here. Wiggins, what up? Z Donovan 9 on IG. Tore my hip labrum, so I'm going to be doing rehab for a good bit. Sorry to hear that, dude. I'm assuming you're a dude. Most want to build calves. How do you slim them down? How do you slim down your calves? What do you mean? That's an interesting question. How do you slim them down? You mean you have too much muscle, or you have, for lack of better explanation, fat calves? Slim them down. Well, you can't spot reduce fat, so that goes for the calves as well. But you might want to explain that a little bit more. Malia, I know it's different for everyone, but I literally have lost weight 4 pounds in 7 days. That's good. When I started actually following you on social media, like listening, taking notes, paying attention, and turned more towards being healthy as my first goal instead of shedding weight. Thank you. Oh, you're very welcome. Isn't that interesting when you just shift your focus? So instead of focusing on losing weight all the time, you focus on, let me be the healthiest I can be, and focus on eating the right foods. Maybe you start exercising more regularly, meditating, but all those things, huge. When you shift your focus, if you're going after your training and you're approaching everything and approaching it in a healthy manner, and you're trying to do the best by your body long term, you're going to have a lot of these things, quote unquote, fall into your lap. When you reduce your stress, when you manage things better, when you're more consistent and you think about it and you set yourself up for consistency. Most people go so hard. Why do most New Year's resolutions fail? Why do most New Year's resolutions fail? They fail because people think short term. My New Year's resolution is to lose 20 pounds. They think 1, 2, 3 months. They put their head down. They fucking do an extreme diet. They beat themselves up at the gym. They get a membership. They're going every fucking day. They blow themselves out, and wouldn't you know it, they don't last. It's because the mindset's wrong. You don't need it to be 2019 to start a resolution. You don't need it to be a certain day for you to change. It just has to be that commitment to change. Right? I've done a video on this before. It's a famous quote. Change doesn't take time. It takes commitment. You don't need to take 3 months to change and to get your head straight. You don't need 21 days to build a habit. You technically don't. If you say, I'm not going to do this anymore, boom, and you start tomorrow and you never do it again, it took you 10 seconds to create that habit. So you have the power to continue through, and you have the power to also reason and weasel your way out of it, and back up, or I would say, not give up on yourself, but, turn the other cheek, or turn a blind eye to the promise you made to yourself, right? Integrity with yourself type of thing. And I'm as guilty as that of anyone. I'll make a promise to myself, and I'll say I'm going to do something and I won't follow through, or, because I'm the one that's holding myself accountable, I don't follow through with that. And that's why it's great to have a community. That's why a lot of you are excelling once you're finding this podcast and once you're finding the Swolenormous community. It's because you're accountable. You have other people that are firing you up. You have other people that are on your heels and, and supporting you in your journey. And we're all in this together. So wherever you are in the world, and even if this is your first episode or you've listened to all 907, it's just a matter of what you want and how dedicated you are and how willing you are to do what it takes. And I'm always improving on that and trying to do better, because there are a lot of times where I say I'm going to do something for myself and I don't. And it pisses me off and it eats away. And sometimes it really frustrates me. And it's not necessary. Just got to get back up and fucking do it again. Eventually you'll stick. You have big calves muscles naturally. I don't know if you can slim them down. If you already have big calf muscles, that could be just a genetic thing. I am not aware of any method where you just slim down musculature. And I'm sure you probably, if you have naturally big calves and you never train them, what are you going to do? Not train them more? If you're already not training them and they got big, I don't know what else you can do, honestly. If they're naturally big and you don't train them, or if you're training them, it's like stop. But it doesn't mean they're going to go away. Some people just have naturally big calves. And if they grew naturally that way, how are you going to train them less than 0, right? So I'm not sure if you can slim them down. What you can do is grow everything else so it makes them look small in comparison. How about that? That's why a lot of people look like they have a smaller waist than they do. They have wider shoulders. They train their shoulders a lot. That's a trick for like a V-taper. From an aesthetic point of view, you have wider shoulders or bigger width. It makes your waist look smaller. And for women, when you build your shoulders out a little bit wider, it makes your waist skinnier in comparison. So these little guys, these little tweaks, and this episode is it's really for any kind of musculature. It doesn't have to be the calves, it doesn't have to be the forearms, because not everyone wants that. But muscles like the posterior deltoid stabilize the shoulder. Muscles like the middle and lower traps that most people don't talk about are major muscle groups that help stabilize the shoulder, stabilize the scapula, improve posture. And when you improve static and dynamic posture, it's going to help you through all your lifts. It's going to help you for your bench pressing. It's going to help you for your pull-ups. It's going to help you for your rows. It's going to help you for your squat. It's going to help you with your back pain. It's going to help with all those things because you're aligning yourself better. You're training the muscles that need to be active in your life. And because most of our days, myself included, we have certain movements that we do over and over again. We call them repetitive movement patterns, things that we do often, because whatever your job is, you have the same tasks that you do most over and over again. And it doesn't matter if you're a nurse, doesn't matter if you stock shelves, doesn't matter if you're a cashier, doesn't matter if you are a truck driver. You have certain positions that your body is in more often than not. You're sitting down, you're standing up, you're reaching overhead, you're reaching down. There's always a movement or a certain side of your body or one arm that's working more than the left. Top part of your body, you're bending down more than bending back. And over time, you create these imbalances. So these little guys, these little muscles, these little stabilizers, they get lost in the shuffle because when we go to the gym, we don't say, hey bro, what are you slamming today? What you working? Oh, I'm going to crush my posterior deltoid, my calves. Anterior tibialis and posterior deltoid. I'm going to do a superset. Posterior delts and anterior tib. Yeah, it's going to be fucking fire, bro. No one says that shit. Everyone's going chest and back, upper body, total body. I'm going to do squats, going to do deadlifts. Nothing wrong with that. But then you'll also have the imbalances that tend to arise from that. So if you have 1,000 people that all do deadlifts, some people are going to get bigger upper body. Some people are going to get developed glutes. Some people are going to have quads that get bigger. Some people are going to get, everyone's going to develop and look a little bit different from genetics and just from all the other things. Remember how many variables there are in each person's life? So the same exercise isn't going to get everyone the same result. So as much as myself and most quality fitness professionals will tell you, compound movements, heavy basic movements will build you muscle and build you strength in the long term. Not everyone's going to respond aesthetically. Not everyone's going to respond in the same manner as everyone else. Some people might just like and really react better to dumbbells. Some people are just going to love barbells more. Some people don't have access to dumbbells. Some people don't have access to barbells. So you don't always have a choice, and you don't always know which maybe works better for you because you don't have access to it. So if you're stuck with a barbell or you're stuck with just using dumbbells, you don't know if that's even the best thing for you. Maybe you work best with bands and you've just never tried them. So I think there's a lot of value in understanding that free weight exercises, stabilization exercises, working all the muscles around the joint, working the stabilizers, working your range of motion is extremely important. It's also important to understand that everyone's different, and you can build muscle in many, many different ways. And I'm not talking to professional bodybuilders here. I'm also not talking to professional athletes. We are all average people. Some of us are in, I guess, better shape performance-wise than others. Some of us have goals for getting bigger and stronger, and some of us have goals for losing weight and looking or being thinner, being lighter, losing more body fat. You don't want to build a lot of muscle. So it depends on what your goal is and what your outcome is. And that's that gray area. That's that middle ground where you can do a lot of different things. You can do a lot of different things in terms of your training. And what some person demonizes might be your holy grail when it comes to fitness. One person might hate on bands or hate on cables. Well, maybe that's your answer. You don't know until you try it or implement it. What I will tell you is important to use the body the way it's designed. It's important to do full range of motion. It's important to do free weight exercises because you are going to activate more muscles that are important in balancing your movement through space. Okay? That's why free weights are more challenging than machines, because you have to balance and stabilize them. The machine does it for you. It doesn't mean that machines don't have a place, but maybe not as a priority. However, not everyone has access to all the free weights and vice versa machines. So you have your own limitations, whatever they are. Okay? Pre-existing injuries, pre-existing conditions. So you have your goal, you have whatever situation you're already in, you have your genetic makeup, you have your own variables, all those thousands of things that are different from person to person. You have your own situation. So it's important to go to that foundation. It's important to go to the base level. It's important to do your spring cleaning. It's important to go back to the beginning and remember why you're training. Remember what the actual end result is, which is all of us being in the fucking ground, right? We're going to die. So it's important to think about that longevity. Okay? There's no short-term fix. It's a method of putting these principles that are commonly successful to the test and adjusting as needed for your individual success and your goals. Okay? There isn't necessarily a one-stop shop that just answers every single question or concern. However, most of what you'll find in the industry is too many rungs up on the ladder to start. You're measuring calories. You have to be a fucking scientist when you start your nutrition. Not the case. You don't have to be doing percentages. You guys get away from this fucking macro stuff. Not important at the very beginning. At the base level, you don't have to worry about that shit. A lot of that's going to solve itself when you figure out what foods are best. So you have to go back to the beginning and then really see how your body is reacting to the base foods that give you the nutrients that you need. And then you start implementing that kind of customization. Then you build from there. That's why you have to eliminate. Make sure your body is getting the fuel that it reacts to best. And then you could start adding and testing things out. You might love intermittent fasting. You might love training calves every day. You might hate both of those things. And if you fucking hate them and they don't really work that well for you, then don't do them. It's your life. You know, if you hate doing something, but it gets you the result that you want, then you have to think about things. If you hate doing it a certain way, but it gets you the results that you want, you're probably not going to hate it that much. Does that make sense? People ask me sometimes about certain foods, like, oh, you must love sweet potatoes. Yes and no. I honestly can't tell you all the time whether or not, like I can't tell sometimes whether I like the foods that I eat or I like the results that I get. So I eat them because I like what they do. So in terms, I quote, like them, and I forget whether I really like them or not. That's happened before in the past. Oh, you must love sweet potatoes. I think so. I think I like them. I think I tolerate them. I don't know. I guess I like them. And that's the honest truth. I like the result. I like how I feel. I like the performance. I love the result of consuming them. I don't know if I can't wait to have a sweet potato because I just love it so much. I never think about it that way. Food is a tool. So I eat, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. And I know that might be confusing some of you. I hope I made that clear. but do you like the result? And then you have to decide, okay, do I like the results enough to deal with it? You don't have to like necessarily what you're doing, but if it gets you the result, then you're going to kind of like it. It's going to be what needs to be done for you to get the result until you maybe find something that works better, that you enjoy. But it really depends on what you want the outcome to be. And if you have to go through shit and you have to do things you don't like to get there, then maybe that's what has to be done. If you really want it, you'll do it and you won't think about it. And you'll just find a way to manage. But it's important to really customize your training, approach it the right way, know that you shouldn't be leaving any man behind. The whole body needs to get worked. All aspects of the body need to be worked. You need to be managing your stress. You need to be working on active recovery. You need to be working the smaller muscle groups. You should be doing some type of cardiovascular component, whether it's going for a long walk. If you want to do cardio per se, you can do a little bit of that. I mean, it depends on what your goal is. You don't have to do tons of cardio to lose weight, but it's still always good to do cardiovascular components in order to develop your body and to make sure you leave no stone unturned. You know, does that mean you have to do fucking high intensity cardio all the time and destroy yourself doing an hour cardio every other day? No, but you do have a heart and you should be able to fucking perform activities. You should have skills. And then it all revolves around what you want the outcome to be. And we forget that. We forget that there isn't a path that everyone needs to do. There needs to be your own personal goal and your approach, and it needs to be coming from the right place. You need to be coming at it from a longevous point of view. And then you have to mold that around what you want the outcome to be. And there's going to be some certain truths that you can't get around. If you want to build muscle and you want to have a physique and you want to look like you lift, then guess what? You're going to have to lift some fucking weights. You're not going to have big arms or big legs by not lifting. Oh, I hate going to the gym, but I want to have abs and, bigger arms. What? You're going to fucking, like what? Like a magic beanstalk? Are you going to rub a genie lamp? You have to go to the gym and lift weights. If you want to have a body that looks like it works out, you're going to have to work out. If you want to look like you lift, you got to fucking lift. And you'd be shocked how many people want something, but then don't want or say they don't like or don't do what it takes to get there. You're going to have to lift weights if you want to look like you lift weights. You know? Jesse Loya, I fucking hate going to the gym, no lie, but once I get there, no mercy. And that's a realization you have to have. And okay, I hate going to the gym. Fuck, I don't want to go. But once you get there, you'll have a good workout. You know what it's going to lead to, so you go to the gym. Look, going to the gym doesn't have to be like going to a carnival. It doesn't have to be your favorite thing in the fucking world. But if you want the outcome of a fit lifestyle, you're going to have to do that. So you better make it a component that you can be consistent with. And there's that fine line between entertainment and liking shit and also sucking it up, buttercup, and doing the fucking work whether you like it or not. It's beneficial if you enjoy it, but you have to make sure that you're doing it to get the outcome you want, because then even if it's hard and you don't like it, you're going to do it because you want the outcome. I missed motivation, my friend. This is the third week without working out for me. I feel so guilty to myself. Well, why? What's going up, Benedetto? What's up? Why? How come you haven't worked out in 3 weeks? Dropping in to say hi. We'll have to watch it later. Sure thing, Nathan. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for dropping in and saying what up. Yeah, catching people on the commute home. Anyway, so we did talk about smaller muscle groups. I know we went into some other philosophical stuff and some strategy things, but I think it was a great episode. There's some good points, really good questions. Really good questions, and I think those are some things that get lost in the shuffle. You really do have an amazing ability to customize your fitness, to customize your training. You really do. You have an amazing ability to do that. And because there's so many different camps, there's the keto, there's CrossFit, there's vegan, there's paleo, there are all these different tunnels or teams. And if you're not on that team, then you're not doing fitness. You can just tweak things. You can do any kind of shade and combination of those things. You can customize it and make it yours. You need to make your fitness your fitness. You don't have to follow everything to the T. You don't have to do everything that everyone else does in those camps. You can take the best things that you like from each one and make it yours if your body reacts best to it. That's why you have some people that do some weird fucking shit. And you're like, why is that? I can't believe that person does X, Y, and Z and they look so good or they do. Well, they figured it out. It doesn't mean that you doing that. And then all of a sudden, but then those people will fucking make their own diet plan and this and then do this. And you're like, oh, I want that too. I want to look like this person. So then you buy their shit and do that. And lo and behold, you don't end up looking like that. Well, it might have taken them 5, 10, 15, 20 years to figure it out. Plus they have all those other variables because that's their customized thing. What I have found in my entire career is that you have to approach your nutrition from that base, clean slate, and you have to test your body. You have to see if your body likes the food you're fucking giving it. Everyone's so different with that. Once you really pay attention to how your body reacts to the food and realize that your food is the foundation of everything, that light switch flips and you realize, oh, what I eat directly affects how I feel, how I perform, how I look, how everything. And then the game changes and then you start making better decisions. And then lo and behold, you start paying attention to your body and you get more results. Of course, you're always learning. You're always trying things. It's the mental status. I miss the focus, the concentration to get out and train. Well, what's keeping you? Go do it. Papa Swole says, go get your fucking pump on, BG. Go fucking get it. Claire Shermer missed 2 weeks due to a pulled muscle. Jonesing for the gym tomorrow. Nice. Nice. Be careful. Be careful. Don't overdo it. Don't jump in back to what you were doing. It's 2 weeks off and you're going to feel great, but don't overdo it. I got bit by the iron bug years ago. Love going to the gym. I love going to the gym. But I do understand when people don't want to go or they get like anxious about it, because sometimes it's just, that's why I always say if you can, get it done first thing in the day, because then it's done and you don't have to like schedule it or leave what you're doing and leave your flow to go to the gym. If you start off with the gym, boom, you get it done, you have your win, you crushed it, and then you move on with your day and it makes you super consistent. Janine Moose, keto makes me sick, vegan maybe gain weight, maybe carb cycling works better, or neither. It might not be any one of those things. It might not be any one of those things. It could just be the foods itself. There's nothing wrong with keto. There's nothing wrong with vegan. There's nothing wrong with carb cycling. But what are you cycling? That's my point with what are you eating? If you're cycling Doritos, and I'm not saying you're cycling Doritos, but if you're cycling shitty carbs, and when I say shitty carbs, carbohydrates that don't work best for your body, maybe you're cycling carbs, but you're doing rice and your body doesn't like rice that much. You are going to hit a wall with carb cycling too, because your body's not reacting fundamentally well to the food that you're consuming. So you could cycle shit all you want. If it's not the food that your body will prefer, it's not going to work out. So I highly recommend looking into my content that I've talked about, the elimination diet and inflammatory foods. Makes a big difference. I prefer when you do the Daily Swole on early because now it's midnight here, but I would follow even at 5 a.m. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, we don't usually do the Daily Swole this late. Today was an anomaly. Usually it's earlier in the day, and it probably will continue. I like it early in the day. I want to start doing it even earlier, maybe even the morning time. I like morning swoles, and we've done it before noon, so you'll see it more earlier in the day. Today is just a little bit of an anomaly, but every day nonetheless, every fucking day, early, late, every day a swole. Every day some sick gains. Melissa, I tried eating a few plans that you mentioned. Vegan, vegetarian, keto, paleo. I've had results, but I'm confused about which fats are actually okay. I like butter, olive oil, and would love beef broth, but some doctor specialist quotes say it's okay and others say no, stay away. So confused. Well, here's the thing with quote medical professionals, and of course, always default to your physician, blah, blah, blah. I have to say that to cover my ass. Most doctors don't know the first thing about nutrition. They're not taught nutrition in medical school. Everyone pays attention to doctors' opinions on things. Doctors don't get nutrition education in fucking school. They don't. Not to mention you have the power of Google at your fingertips, so you can really back check and fact check and cross check and swole check every single thing that's being said out there. You know, fats are not not the devil. They're not bad for you. Fats are essential. Olive oil is great. You know, I use grass-fed butter. I use beef tallow on things as well. Beef broth is fucking amazing. I make my own beef broth. Highly recommended. It's amazing for the gut. It's amazing for inflammation. It's great. Collagen, proline, glycine. It's great for finger, hair, nails, joint health, tendons. I love it. So I don't know what doctors say it's not good. But what people tend to do now, people always tend to go extremes. How extreme is vegan? You're talking about keto and vegan are extremely popular now. Think of how extreme those are. Think of how extreme that diet is. Everything's extreme, right? You have these extreme races like the Spartan races. Then you have fucking CrossFit and it's extreme. And then you have vegan, no meat, nothing from any fucking animal on earth. And this is fucking all plants and shit. And then it's keto, fucking carbs. I'll eat plants and stuff, but I won't eat any carbs. Now I'm just eating fat all the time. Yo, can anyone just fucking eat some food with like some balance? And here's the thing. The balance isn't the thing that's needed. It's the approach. People do keto and thinking that, okay, maybe I don't like carbs. Vegan, maybe it's the animal proteins, that's bad. Maybe that's not the problem. The problem isn't one macronutrient. You can't demonize one macronutrient. Stop demonizing meat and animal products. Stop demonizing carbohydrates. The issue stems from what foods fundamentally are you consuming? What animal products? Are you eating shitty meat? Are you eating grain-fed meat? Are you eating processed meats? Or are you eating grass-fed beef, lamb, fish, things of that nature? Are you consuming, for example, when it comes to keto, carbs aren't the enemy. Are you eating cake, sugar, chips, white rice, or brown rice, just fucking rice, all these grains? Are you consuming breads? Those are things that should be cut out. It's not the keto, it's the foods themselves. It just so happens that a lot of the shit that people consume are carbohydrates because they're processed and they're subsidized by the government, and corn and all that fucking stuff, vegetable oils. So it's the different types of fats. It's the vegetable oils, the canola oils, safflower oils, all those things. So it's important to understand the context. If you're coming at your nutrition on an individual food basis, which foods does my body react to? Then if it happens to fit one of those plans, you can approach it. But people go for these plans first rather than assessing the foods. People go keto and then just pound cheese all fucking day. That's not the right way to do keto. They just put cheese on everything. Not the answer. Not the answer. Cholesterol, high cholesterol doesn't mean bad. I can't answer those questions. I'm not a medical professional, so I can't answer in detail from just a Facebook comment. But I would definitely look up my content on the elimination diet. You can also message me, Melissa, because there's a nutrition training that I have available if you haven't watched it yet that you might find interesting. So, Melissa, just to make it easier, why don't you send me a message on my Facebook page and I'll get to it as soon as I can. I'll send you a link. Instagram, you're about to end, so I'll see you guys later. Instagram's going to be out. They're done. Okay. Perfect timing, it said. Okay. Jesse, I did keto for 8 months and I loved it and still do, but my God, why was I never introduced to sweet potatoes as a kid or growing up? This shit's amazing. I love sweet potatoes because the way it makes me feel. I feel amazing eating sweet potatoes. I feel pumped. I love the outcome. I just love the feel of it. I just react really well to sweet potatoes. Rice, nothing. Bread, no. Sweet potatoes, fuck yeah. Love them. What would be a good snack? I mean, something to eat in the mid-morning between breakfast and lunch, or in the mid-afternoon, and what to eat for breakfast. Bro, you're asking like, what should my diet be? And that's literally what you're asking. You're asking the wrong questions. You're asking the wrong questions. I don't do snacks because if you're eating the right foods, you don't need a snack. If you're eating the meals you should be and the sufficient calories, you don't need snacks. Just eat the food that you need to eat or eat more when you do eat. I don't think snacks are necessary. I think snacks are an excuse or it's a method to keep on putting things in your mouth, and people tend to overeat when they do a lot of snacks. So, you might not be consuming enough fat. You might not be getting enough satiety in your consumption. Maybe you're not getting enough fiber. You're not getting enough healthy fats. So I don't know. I don't do the whole snack game. I usually just fucking feed. So you might prefer, for example, I don't know what your goal is. You might prefer something like intermittent fasting where you go longer periods without eating and then you pound food in a smaller window. You might prefer that. I don't know. And like I said, there's no specific answer, but there's different methods. And the good thing, what people tend to overlook, the good thing about nutrition, the good thing about all this information, all this research that's coming out, is that there's a lot of different options. You have a lot of options that make intermittent fasting a viable option. It used to be, don't skip breakfast, don't skip the most important meal of the day. Now we're saying, oh, you can be completely healthy and do intermittent fasting. It's good to go without food now and again. Okay, whether you do it regularly and every day, that's up to you. You have to try it. Some people love it, some people hate it. So there's a lot of research that comes out showing that it's total caloric balance. It's about what foods you're consuming. It's not so much, it's a keto, it's a paleo. You can be healthy on so many different levels. Thus why some people are super successful being vegan, super successful doing keto, super successful doing paleo, super successful doing X, Y, and Z. That's why there's so many things out there. You know why there's so many things? Because there's 7 billion fucking people. There are a lot of different things that work for a lot of different people. You could have one nutrition plan. You could have 50 million people raving about one specific diet and one workout program. Yeah, you could have 50 million people, 50 million hardcore supporters of one specific eating style, 50 million hardcore intermittent fasting. That's the fucking shit. And they're just out ranting all the time. 50 million. There's 7 billion people in the world. That's still a drop in the pool. 50 million people can be running their mouths about one thing, and it's still a small percentage of the entire world's population. So whenever you hear someone ranting about it, okay, something worked for you. Congratulations. It doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone. But people talk about it like it will. Oh, work for me. It's going to work for you. That's where I come in. That's why I don't have like, this is what you're supposed to do. I'm going to lead you down the path to figure out what works best for you. I'll share what I do. I'll share my approach. And I'll share what's very commonly not good for a lot of people and give you some ideas. You're still going to have to test it and see what works. Most people don't like that little bit of effort they have to do. Well, those people aren't going to get results because they don't want to put in the work. It's going to take some effort. If you give a shit about your body and want to learn, then you do it. If you don't, then you fucking don't. There's really nothing else to say. If you want to get it done, you get it done. If you don't want to get it done, you don't get it done. Nothing worth having is fucking free or easy. It takes work. It takes effort, sweat equity. You got to put the time. You got to put the time in and the effort. So Benedetto, so the quote, eat 5 times a day thing is an urban legend. It's not an urban legend. Some people, like if you're trying to bulk up, for example, you have to eat more frequently because you get more times to feed and get in those calories. You certainly don't need to eat 5 times a day to lose weight, and you don't need to eat 5 times a day per se to gain weight, but it's harder to eat surplus of calories in 2 meals than it is in smaller breakups of 6 meals. Depends on what your goal is. I used to eat every couple hours all the time. I haven't done that in a while, and I feel great. I feel fine. I feel excellent. You know, I eat once or twice a day. I don't intermittent fast, but I tend to by just naturally because I'm doing work and I drink my coffee in the morning. I don't pound food first thing in the morning. So I kind of intermittent fast, or I just kind of backload my day with food. I don't eat tons of food in the morning. I eat more in the afternoon and evening. Sweet potatoes on your eggs, sweet potatoes on your salads, sweet potato, all those things that you listed, Shane, sounds delicious. Jesse, all I eat is ribeyes, ground beef, lamb, bison. I believe they are grass-fed but not grass-finished. Should I be worried about all the beef consumption? I feel great, but all these people always asking me, but I have no response back. I feel great, but all these people always asking me. You mean people asking you, is that really healthy? Well, you feel great with it. Look, I think it's natural. I think it's 100% natural to eat beef and to eat animal products as a human being. I honestly, I eat plenty of beef. I don't have the answer. That's like a long term. Is that the answer? Some people are going to work out great with that. You know, should you be worried? Are you getting blood work done? Are you looking into it? Are you tracking it? There's really no, I would say, when you start doing things excessively, you raise the percentage chance that if there's something bad as a result, that it could come about. But that's assuming that what you're doing is a bad thing. So it's important for each person to take responsibility for what they're doing and to be aware of the potential consequences. In other words, you need to be plugged into your health. There's nothing wrong with eating animal products as long as you're monitoring and you're paying attention and you're seeing how you're reacting and how you feel and how you perform and all these other health markers that we're aware of. But you have to put it all into context. A lot of these studies are not done well, or they're done with people that aren't you, that don't have all the same variables that you have. There's a lot of stuff that we haven't figured out yet as a species. We don't know that much. Everyone thinks that we know a lot more than we do. We really don't know that much. That's why we do all these experiments. That's why all this research and all these research papers keep on coming out. If we had the answer, we wouldn't need to keep on researching it. Not a lot of people are doing research on gravity. Not a lot of people are doing research on wood. You don't have a lot of wood research out there. Like once we know what something is and we're pretty confident, okay, we move on. We're still doing all these studies with nutrition and shit because we don't fucking know. That's the scary thing. It's also the beautiful thing. There's a lot of different options. That's why a lot of people react well to different things. I think there's a lot of variability when it comes to genetics and epigenetics and environmental and lifestyle factors that get overlooked. How do you measure someone's nutrition relative to their stress levels? How do you do a study that measures and that gauges for meat consumption when combined with regular meditation and exercise and pollution and sleep habits and genetics and epigenetics and relationship factors? And like, there's so many different things. And that's one person. How do you find 100 people that are the same way that you can study? And by the way, if you did a study with 100 people, people won't even look twice at it because 100 people, it's not a big enough population. So what are you going to do? Keep control over 1 million people and do a study with that specific? Like it's so much money, takes so much time, so much effort. And then if you did that study for 3 months, people are going to say, well, it's only a 3-month study. You don't know what happens in 5 years. And they're absolutely correct. There's just so many variables. That's why studies keep on coming out and people still going after it. People keep on still going after it because we don't know. So we're learning. But if you feel great and you're eating real wholesome food and you're exercising regularly and you're consuming fibrous vegetables, like you're still getting in all that stuff, you're covering your bases, I mean, you could just be simply fine. Okay? There's no like death penalty because you're consuming meat, and there's no death penalty because you're going vegan. But some people are going to absolutely respond better to different things. Absolutely. But we'll continue this tomorrow. It's a great topic, and we can talk about nutrition all the time. We were talking about smaller muscle groups. I mean, this episode has a little bit of everything. So highly recommend, if you just caught the tail end of it, to go back to the beginning. We're talking about the little guys. I'll probably put some addendum in the title, the little guys in parentheses, muscles and nutrition, because we talked about everything today. Did a lot of Q&A and everything. So I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, next Sunday, we'll do a whole new, live full Q&A on next Sunday completely. But we'll hammer out some more topics tomorrow. And tomorrow is Wednesday, hump day. So we will be doing some more things, probably stemming from this episode with the little guys and smaller and underactive muscles. We'll talk about the glute activation and kind of glute work again, probably bring it back to the hump day feel and flavor, because on Thursday night, like I mentioned, live masterclass inside Swolenormous X, inside the private Facebook group, and it'll also be uploaded to the website. And if you want to hook into that, the glute activation masterclass, you can join us. You can get in on it even with the basic membership with a 7-day free trial. Go to swolenormousx.com and check it out. And if you're watching on Instagram or you're listening and you only use Instagram, you can check it out. The link is in my bio, I believe. You can also hit me up on the DM if you like a link, but just go check it out, swolenormousx.com. You'll see it in the membership section. It'll give you the countdown for when the glute masterclass is, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be awesome. Going to be going over a lot of different exercises. Going to be pulling up video, and I'm going to be explaining the breakdown, strategies, form and technique, activation, protocols, progressions, and how to use it in your training and how to get the most out of your leg workouts. Glutes are commonly forgotten. So I'm going to help you get those glutes and those peaches turned on. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow. And until then, thank you for joining me for episode 907 of the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gaincast, Mancast, Pimpcast, and Sleazecast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Thank you for joining me. See you tomorrow for 908. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce, Magoose. Papa Swolio. Out.